standing next
Hang
to
on.
you.
Right, so we apologise. We're back. Star Uni batting first after winning the toss, 45 for 2 after 7. 12 runs coming off that last over. My name is Bevan Jenkinson. Good to have you wherever you're tuning in. Brian Hanson alongside me once more. Brian, it's starting to steady out a little bit more now for Star.
It is. It's starting to settle down nicely. Thanks for not chasing me during the break. Appreciate it.
How do you get back
It looks
onto
like I
this
got
thing?
another spinner coming
How
on.
do you get back on this? It's fine today.
We managed to figure out the technology issue was the old, the simple, the cord being disconnected. I tried the on and off again button and
Right.
found out
So we got
that was the issue. It was the one of the cords had come undone. It's a couple of wides down leg side. Sat via Sing the bowler for old boys.
no, it's a new one. Matt Langton, Michael Langton, it's a left armer.
Oh, Mike Lanting, sorry.
Dropped it too short there for a spin bowler. Any batsman loves a spin bowler to give him to try and bounce him. Hey,
That's the reason why you have that man at deep back, deep square leg though, isn't it? Sometimes there's some spinners drop him back for protection, especially in T20. Now he's decided to go right arm over to the left-hander. Left arm round, sorry. That shows how much attention. That one's just dropped short of the fielder, and they'll pick up a single.
looks like the fielder didn't really pick it up there until the end, eh?
No, and at cow corner there. Phil, who's that batsman that hit that run? Sorry,
that was James Field.
James Field. Joining Ana Ujaraja. It's a fall of wicket.
I see the bowlers just stopped giving the fielder the devil eye.
Well, it's one of those really. This one's pulled round to mid wicket. We'll get a single. Certainly, Arnie is
Good throw.
looking to go on the attack at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that one where it just dropped short. Like, I mean, it's one of those really awkward ones, though, isn't it? Is that you're never sure come in and go for it, or step back and let it go on the bounce.
Yeah,
This one is skied.
Let's see if he can.
He is
redeem
underneath
himself.
this one, and it is
He's
over the
dropped it,
top,
and it's gone for
and he's
4.
helped it across the boundary. It was an awkward one.
That is a horrible one. That stayed up forever, huh?
I think you'd rather the ones that drop in front of you like that that you've misjudged than one that's gone high. And the fielder, he's got his old hands on his hips because he does feel sorry for Lanting, but not much you can do about those.
No, hit it straight into the sun, and now he's.
It's been helped round the corner.
Oh, good stop by the fielder there.
Down at fine leg, 2 runs.
The throwing back to the wicketkeeper has been very spot on, hey?
It took me about 3 goes to do what they
Yeah.
do in one, mate. You were talking about shoulders before, and I certainly know what it's like at the ripe old age of 33.
Yeah, mine I try and write and it starts clicking, but
This one through the covers, pick up a single. No, they're going to go for 2. Ana
Cheeky
Ujaraja is quick.
oh, bit of a misfield there.
Yep. They say don't run on the misfield, but Arnie saw the opportunity. He's taken it. End of 8 overs, Phil. What's the score?
Total is. Oh, sorry. Go back to. He's bowling now.
Have the score for you in a second. Yeah, a couple of drop catches happening, and the fielder's got his hands on his hips, not looking too pleased with himself, but some very difficult chances. There was one while the live stream was down earlier that I think was a lot simpler.
Yes, very expensive over, but could have been a very fruitful over for the bowler, hey? If
Yep. You got to take your chances in cricket. Doesn't matter the format,
no.
but catches. We'll go with catches win matches, not matches win catches.
I just hope that drop catch doesn't come back and haunt them, you know. Sometimes when you drop a batsman, he tends to go on and get 50.
Iranani's one was well more hit than James Fields, who miscued it almost.
Yeah.
Hence why it went up high.
I'd like to see what happens if Josh was to bowl downhill. This side of the wicket, with that extra bounce and pace that he's got, might get him a few more edges.
Phil, what's the score?
It's 58.
So 58 for 2 after 8. Bit of a swing and a miss there. The old rock back onto the back foot for Brian and swing with the hips, isn't it?
Well, we are in New Zealand, so if he carries on doing that, I'm going to have to tell the wiki to put on a jersey so he doesn't get a cold with all that cold breeze coming his way, you know.
Well, what I know of Matt Whitley, though, he can put up with just about anything. He's a pretty tough nut, Matt. The old boys.
That was a good ball, but a great shot.
He down to long on, they just jog through for a single.
Try to find that Yorker there. He's getting the ball to dip, hey? Just at the end of the... Just as it gets to the bat.
Gives that good variation, though.
Yeah.
When it does that. So it's still Gifford bowling?
Yeah.
Phil?
Yeah.
So all the other stuff that we've had going on, it was we started to lose a bit track, but we're back on it now.
Catch.
And this one is...
Great take.
Oh, it's taken.
That's
So-
a good catch.
We've seen 3 drop catches with 2 brilliant ones.
Yeah. That's the one you don't want to drop, hey?
No. He judged it very well and ran in. Taken just off screen there at mid off. And
It was that type of ball that you would want to hit, but he just didn't seem like he got it all, hey? I think it's the bowler's run up too. He's got a long run up and he like deceives you that he's actually slower than he looks.
yeah, but
Without being horrible to the bowler.
and funnily enough, that's exactly what James Fields just said to Elliot Satner going out to bat. That he is very slow.
Yeah. It's that run up, it definitely deceives you.
There's a good run out there in the Marist game. I was going to pull up Elliot Satner's season figures for T20 this season, but he hasn't actually played a game yet for them. So I know he's been away on holiday, and just the way Hamilton cricket's competition structure is, staggered all over the place at times. And I don't mean that in a bad way at all, just that it happens to be that way. You've got to try and fit everything in somewhere. So this is his first T20 game. Elliot, of course, the brother of Mitchell.
Okay.
And Mitchell Satner.
Oh.
Harry Potter. Or Santa Claus, whatever they call him these days.
Does he also play for when he's in his
He
free time?
plays for Old Boys.
Ah.
His club is he does play for Old Boys in Hamilton. And he played a game as he was coming back from injury before Christmas last season. Picked up a couple of wickets, and I know talking to another guy, he just said that he just wanted to be able to hit Mitchell, to say he hit Mitchell Satner, but he got caught at first slip. Funny enough, both of the 2 wickets Mitchell took in that match were caught at first slip in a T20. So
that would have been lovely to watch him play. I would like to see him play.
coming back from his knee reconstructions that he had, yeah. But Elliot's first one's just over the top of off stump. Gets inside it.
He hasn't had a really good start to the. He wasn't really that great for the Aussie for the Black Caps against the Aussies.
Yeah, but it happens. Form comes and goes a lot.
It does.
And I hope for Mitchell's sake that it does come back.
He is a good bowler, so it definitely won't keep him down for long. Hey.
Yep. As this one is fuller and just punch down to long on and take a single.
still the same
Dodunski,
over.
that last over for 1
Yep.
second.
Another overspin.
So there's a single being taken off the last over. Out to the
Now
covers.
dot
He
one.
actually got that ball to hurry the batsman
No,
a
dot.
bit
One.
Yep.
Wicket.
Yep.
Dot dot one.
Dot 1. Okay, cool. Thank you.
So 60 is it?
61.
61 for 2 after 9.
3. We're not even close.
Let's go for 3, eh?
We're 57 for 3 on this.
Do a lot of internationals or provincial players come and play in these leagues?
In the Hamilton League, yes, we have Scott Kugelheim and Anton Devisic who play when they don't have other commitments, either Black Caps or Northern Knights. They play for Boys High. They've had a couple of. They generally play at the start of the season before everything gets in, or as in Mitchell's case last year, comes after injury.
That's alright, we'll figure it out something. Don't worry about it, you go. Focus.
Sharks do it at the end of their innings.
Yeah. So if I just score from here,
Oh,
and then we can figure it out on the.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't worry about it.
See, first ball of the new over is into the pads of Arnie. Trying to look league side there a bit, but didn't
Yeah.
get here.
It looks like the spin bowlers are struggling to find the right length to bowl on this pitch.
Someone of Arnie's batting abilities, though, can do that. And this is what I was saying earlier about him being a spinner himself.
Yes.
He can work those things round. Next one, Arnie comes down the wicket,
Oh,
plays
Arnie
it down
on
to
the
the player in front of us, and they just take a single. At that time, no real interest in going in for the catch.
No.
And again, it is one of those things though where you're just never too sure whether to go in. And of course, if you go in, the ball can end up over your head if you don't judge it right. And like most sports, cricket's a lot easier sitting in the stands watching, isn't it?
No, it is. It is. I might have been grumpy, but
You're a bowler, I'm a bowler, I understand.
yeah. Especially considering his last over, he did get a bit of a belting. A bit of luck
Due to the
drop catches.
Due to the drop catches, yes.
But let's see if he can find his length to the right hander now. That is a good ball.
Yeah, just getting him back into his crease, and Elliot just having to fend away.
It is interesting how quickly they did bring on the spinners, considering that the faster bowlers were doing a lot better.
Yeah, I think that ball's might have just gone a little bit soft, even though it's not even 10 overs. But even though the batsman, especially Arnie, has enjoyed the spinners, I think there's still a lot of need for them to keep going.
Yes.
And one brings two, in cricket they say, a wicket, and generally does. And just unfortunate with the Black Caps that they couldn't do that while in Australia, unfortunately.
Yeah, those Aussies are a different bunch at home, hey?
They are, and when they're on top,
Oh.
they're firing.
That's horrible to play cricket against them.
Yeah. End of 9 overs there, Phil. What's the score?
No, it's 10 overs.
End of 10 overs?
65.
65. Missed an over. It's alright.
Or two.
For 3. 65 for 3 after
three.
10.
What is Arnie on?
Phil?
44.
44.
Arnie's on 44.
He's doing very well.
So he's approaching his 50. Be well deserved.
Is this Kendall Sibley?
It'll be. No, that's not Kendall, is it?
No, that's what's his name?
Satvir.
Satvir.
So Satvir back into the attack after bowling one over. Well, Arnie this season, his highest score was 17. Good to see, good for him that it was.
Yeah. Well, he's
Hang on.
batted very well today. He's
44 not out.
He's made the bowlers change their line and bowl where he wants them to bowl. That was going down leg.
Might have been a bit of that maybe as well. I was a little distracted in what I was trying to achieve myself, but not out. Definitely He's a single to long off. Brian, it looks as though we have another person in the commentary box, do we?
Yeah, my little boy has decided to join us. Say hello.
Hello,
And what's your name, sorry?
my name is Troy.
Your name's Troy, is it? Are you enjoying cricket today? Quite a nice day, isn't it?
I got Connect 4.
There you are. You're on TV.
So that's the three of us there.
Wave.
There's Troy there on Brian's knee.
Wait, is that my dad's?
Oh, we're talking about the cricket there.
I got the Connect 4.
Bit of a slow over at the moment, this one.
Do you know what the
Couple of
thing's
singles
called?
coming off it.
Definitely makes a big difference. The coming down the hill, hey?
Yep.
For the bowling. It looks like the spinner is getting a little bit more of a bounce coming down
This
the hill.
end does, bowling to this end
Yeah.
does seem to do a bit more
Yeah.
for the spinners.
That's why I'd also like to see Josh come down and bowl towards us.
Well, he's got a couple of overs up
Oh.
his sleeve. No played that into the pads because he's definitely no appeal.
It could be a bit scary to see him bowl down that side.
But Matt Whitley, who is Old Boys captain today, will certainly know what will have a plan up his sleeve. He's got a great brain, as Matt.
He's rotated the bowlers quite well.
Phil,
Yeah.
can I borrow your bonos, please?
They're not that good. They're good enough. Keeper's coming.
Not for my eyes. I don't know what I've done with mine. What's the score there?
69.
69 after 11.
Yeah.
So 120, I think Brian is certainly about par. I think looking at it at the moment, but I think Star will want definitely more than 120. What do you think?
120 would be a good score, considering that the outfield is quite slow. But I agree.
Now,
Maybe 160 probably would be hard to chase down today.
this is very interesting because Cooper Rowell has come into the bowling attack,
Ooh.
and as he was taking the field, he was telling me he is back playing, but he's not bowling. So I heard it from the horse's mouth. This first ball of his first over's down to cover.
And
Had stress fractures in his shin,
Ouch.
is what he was saying before Christmas, and he's been struggling with that. And then he's managed to just build up his fitness so he can play. But he said no, definitely not bowling.
Oh, he's a tough bugger,
Oh yes,
and he's
a great guy too, is Coops.
and with that little run up, he's deceptively quick. It didn't look like he was going to be that quick.
So an update for you over at
It's a
the
great lead.
Melville versus Marist game, as this one's just had to cover for no run. 73 for 5 is Melville. Keir Beckley and Tariq Alam are the batsmen at the crease currently. Is this one full?
Searching for that Yorker.
Yeah, I'm just questioning, was that a chance that
I
he's
think
put
so.
down?
Yeah, I think it was caught involved.
Yeah, I think he's just on his follow through there. He's just managed to get his hand down.
He's playing injured, so we'll just say, well, it was a good effort to get there.
Well, any effort like that is to get anything on it's pretty good. And how many times do you see that? Do you see the non-striker being run out from backing up in those ones? So this one is it's
it's a
great fielding.
That was a
Jake
good
Harvey,
save.
I think it's the man there, is it Phil?
That's South Africa, Josh Brown.
Oh, Josh Brown, sorry, do apologise.
That was a
I
good save.
thought I heard Harvey, not Browning. That was why.
Now, Harvey, don't take me wrong, Harvey wouldn't be that quick.
Yes, well. Oh, is this? He looked to go leg side with this one, and he's gone offside, but he's going to pick up 2.
He started off with such a great line and length, and then he's just obviously getting used to it now. He's just dropped it a bit short.
What's Arnie's score there, Phil?
Where is it? He's on 51.
51.
Yeah.
Okay, so he has brought up his 50 with that shot. And I think Thomas Shook has come running over to see what he was on, but they've realised they've missed it. So they'll celebrate his 50 on this ball. Yes, they will. So Ujaraja comes 3 for 2, 3 back and point, and he moves on to 53. It's been a very well hit 50.
That was a good 50. And it came quite quickly from what it looked like, huh?
Yeah, well, they tied him down a little bit.
37 balls.
37 balls. I was going to say, I was thinking 40. But he's taken his chances too. I think he's had at least one drop catch off him. But, you got to ride your luck in cricket. And what's the score there, Phil?
It's 77
77
off 12.
off 12. So, the run rate just dropping still, but still 6.5. So it's interesting to see what Star can manage with. This one down to long on for a single.
And there's enough batsmen waiting to come in for them to start having a go now.
Yep, they've got 7 wickets up their sleeve. Of course, if it was last man stands, it would be 8.
Why did I leave my cricket stick here?
My little monster.
He's taken a couple of steps down, missed it completely, and interestingly enough, he never even attempted to get back, but I think he knew he was done. Matt's pretty good with the gloves, so that is the end of a very fine innings of Arnie Ujaraja's coming to an end. 53 of 40 deliveries.
That was a good innings. Beaten with the flat, I reckon.
Yep. And it's a spinner from the far end as well,
Yeah.
as we were saying.
Is that Watkin gone out, boys? Hey, James. Is that Watkin gone out? Oh.
So Ben Morris
Sorry,
Brown
sorry,
actually promoted up the order.
Pinch hitter.
Yep. More known for his wicket taking abilities, because he certainly can take some wickets as Arnie's feats being celebrated by his teammates. So strike rate of 87 with an average of 14 for the season.
Oh, he had a good innings. Let's hope they can go on and make a few extras. Yeah.
Well, they just need to keep going with it, don't they?
Yes.
Don't let his innings be in vain. And when you've team scored 77 and he's scored 53, it's a good chunk of the runs, actually. It's not what I was thinking. Not what I was thinking earlier. I thought it was about 60-40, but no. Satvia carries on, just chopping in. What have you spotted there, Brian?
The fielder from the other team is actually...
The Marist field is fielding at short cover, it looks like.
Yeah, I thought he was going to go there to silly Miranya.
Yeah.
Wrong game.
Yep, but the boundaries do come out quite close to each pitch. Steel Park, in the old days, when I first started playing cricket in Hamilton, the boundary used to go the other side of the field. And when you have those sort of situations, as just comes down and hits it through for a single, maybe 2, but no, Ben Morris Brown's backed up too far to not get the run from the misfield. Yeah, so, and like I mean, in those situations, and I do it just about in every situation where you have that, I'll watch your back if you watch mine.
Yeah,
you know?
That fielder is pretty brave to have his back towards a guy that wants to hit the ball very hard.
I think that's Nick Farrell actually out there, who you see on the boundary quite a bit for Marist suburbs. It's just played into the ground. And end of the 13th there, Phil, score?
Yep. The score is 80.
80, so only 3 runs coming off that one. Do you think?
Definitely more bounce for the spinners coming down the wicket here towards us.
Just a thank you to Phil for keeping us up to date with the score there, because I know it can be a bit complicated trying to do the score as well as telling everybody else. So thanks for Ross for doing that for us. So 7 overs, run of balls of 120. I think possibly Star could look at 130 if they keep wickets in hand though.
Well, I'd like to see Star at least try and have a good bash at this over now, and just try and accelerate the run rate a bit here. They have gone a bit to sleep, eh?
Yep, well, Keeper Rail's done enough for a second over. So the old shin can't be bothering him too much.
He hit the deck nicely.
Well, very interesting that single being taken. I think Keeper's been a bit caught napping there with the Marist fielders. Being there almost, but I don't think Anish Desai is going to pick that one up for him. So men out, cover, third man. Yeah, just covering third man currently. Oh, and long on the boundary as well as deep backward square. As they'll pick up a single, quite easily taken there from Ben Morris Brown.
He's definitely bending his back more in this over. You bowling a heavier ball.
Well, bowling's all about confidence, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah.
And especially if you're coming off an injury, bowling a good over like he did last time. This one jumps. I just take a single. Well, if you can't take boundaries, at least take runs
You got a
off
nice
every
deep
ball,
bounce
don't
there.
you?
Yeah, you got a nice deep bounce there too.
She played that well, to be honest.
Did play it well down into the ground.
Well fended.
Yep. So fourth ball is down to
That was a
long off, and it comes through for a single. Well, Ben Morris Brown certainly batting with a bit more confidence than I probably gave him credit for at the start. Normally see him about 9, 10, 11.
Okay, so he's
So batting at 6 today, he's doing what his team needs.
you're probably going to see him swing soon, eh?
Yeah, well, Elliot certainly he can hit, but he is generally a fiddler. He scored a very good 98 in the one-day final last year. That was what his team needed, and won it for them against Old Boys. So he's certainly got batting ability too, does Elliot. Single down to long off. And single off every ball of this over at the moment, but Keeper's keeping it nice and tight.
Yeah, he's found a good length here, and he's actually got quicker as the overs. Well, look at the end of the over now, but his pace was up there. He's getting faster every ball.
Yep. So end of 14, I'm
Yep.
saying 86.
Yep.
Yep, this is my guess, because that shows how much attention I paid there, because I did think it was a run off every ball. My mother would be pleased.
86.
86.6.
Worry about it at the end of the innings. It's too messy.
Where'd you go last? What was the last over?
All
All
singles.
singles, yeah. That's that.
Just some issues with the other technology at the moment.
84, did you say?
No, it's 80. It's 86.
Oh, yeah, we're 4
As happens.
Also changed the field a bit, got a bit aggressive there, huh?
Yeah, they've got a short cover almost, haven't they? A short extra actually that's coming in. That first ball went. This one's down to square leg. Simon Wood, the umpire's not going to help either. The fielding.
It did look like they were expecting him to pick it up and give it to him.
If he thought he could, he probably would. Simon, he's a great character and it's always good to see umpires that have personality as well, because you find players respond better to umpires that have got something to them. So there's 2 runs taken, quite a very good quick 2 there. I think these 2 will be working on that too, just pushing that field and making them work.
Because they're not really going the aerial route at the moment, so.
No. This next ball
It's
just
a good
hit
ball.
straight back to the bowler. And Elliot, is it? That's been on strike, isn't it?
No, it's Elliot.
It is Elliot. On strike.
Elliot for sure.
Short catch.
It is Elliot. Played straight to that man at short cover. And all he had to do was stand there.
It came to him as a rocket.
Yeah, I think it stung him a little bit, but he pouched it very comfortably.
It hit him hard in the hands there.
Is that Josh Brown? Who is it?
I don't know who's taken that. Can't see them properly.
Half a metre to the
It's the front of the wicketkeeper.
half a metre to the left, and that was going to be 3 bounces for.
Yep, but it's another wicket in the column.
What's going on here?
As I'll just update the Melville game going on at the moment. 94 for 5 Marist against Suburbs.
And they seem to be going
And-
around nicely.
Yeah, they do. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Marist, who do need to win that game to have a chance of the final. The other possibility that needs to happen is for Old Boys to lose this one.
Just had a great fall there.
Yeah, I've looked over a couple of times at that game in Melville, and I think Tariq,
So
who I
gone
know
out
can
now?
hit the ball quite well.
Is this
That was a
rocking now,
beautiful
boys, is
leg
it?
lancer.
Hey James, is this rocking now? Thanks.
So Liam Watkins, the new batsman, and they'll pick up a couple of wides down leg. Just a little bit too wide for the
Right.
keeper to go to cover that one across.
It did. That's the first wide in a couple of overs now. The guys have been bowling a very good line and length. There's a nice little paddle down the leg for a 4. Oh, sorry, for 1 run.
Couldn't make that today.
Yeah, mate. Ryan Galbraithson joins us
I'll shake your hand over that.
beside. I don't think he realised that we're commentating. I don't know what he thought we would be doing.
What else?
It's all right,
What else
RG.
would you be doing?
Exactly, mate.
Court.
What else would I be doing? So, what's the score there, Phil?
I'm just fixing this up.
Are you fixing it? I'll give you the score for you in a moment. I went looking for my sunscreen, sorry there, Brian, and stood on it. So it didn't take me long.
It actually is an awesome day today. Hey? None of that horrible wind that we've had this week or last week.
It's a great Hamilton day, isn't it, Ryan?
It is, mate.
It is, yep.
Although there is
Brian
one
Sunday.
cloud there that looks like rain.
One very tiny, midgety one.
I'm gonna wait.
Hang on, aren't you from Durban? Do you know what rain is?
Yeah, that doesn't happen often, huh?
92. Sorry.
But it's a great day today.
So 92 for 5 after 14.
15.
After 15. Second time I've missed an over there, but that's alright. Good single being taken there. Cooper Rowell on his third. I think in the innings break we're going to have a word to him and say
That shin is taped
that
up
chin's
nicely.
looking alright. Yes, what's this? Second ball of the over, and this one's a little bit straighter and just played to long on again. Same result, pretty much.
Yeah, it would appear that the ball is not swinging as much as it was in the first 4 overs.
interesting because sometimes you see that ball get older and it tends to move a little bit more, doesn't it? And I know playing last man stands cricket that I generally bowl with the older ball and get it to move a little bit. So thanks to Ryan for updating us with the Fraser Tech score, 84 for 7 after 16. Thanks for that. As this one is through to cover, quick run, and
what a good runner.
that's a brilliant throw. It's hit the top of the stumps. It's hit
That
the
was a
bails
cheeky
almost.
Cheeky single that.
Yeah, well, I think it was on. I think it was a fair call. Take the man on sidearm.
Well, you can
But
when you what, 18, 20?
But of course, too, you know that if he's going to hit, there's only one
It
result.
was a good throw.
It's a brilliant throw. And just unfortunate.
Who's running?
But it does look like they want to increase
Oh,
that
Ben
run
Morris
rate now.
Brown's out, isn't it?
Yeah. So Ben Morris Brown, an unfortunate victim for that.
Apart from those two blunders over here, the fielding has actually been really good, from Hamilton.
In all, the old boys' fielding has been quite tidy.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think at the end of the innings, going into the next one, you can think back and go, well, okay, they were just minor glitches.
Yes.
They haven't.
Right,
You could say that
who's
it cost
gone
you a
in
little bit, but not too much.
Who's gone out to bat now, boys? Who's gone out to bat? Thanks.
So Hayden Black, the man off strike at the moment, as Liam Watkin gets it through to deep backward square leg for a single. Hayden, the man on strike now.
Yeah, I don't think the wicket keeper appreciated that throw back at the wicket.
It was right in front of him, wasn't it?
It really did.
On the bounce.
So Hayden Black faced that first ball, didn't he?
No, Liam did.
Liam, that's right. Yeah, Liam did. This one they got a one, didn't they? The one.
Because of the run out.
That was a good ball. Well played, though.
It was a very well played down to third man, but there is a man back there, and I'll just pick up one.
And a great throw into the wicket.
Yeah, Hayden, he plays between the A's and Premier grade, so I only get to see him every now and then. But he is a typical wicketkeeper, and like the fact that he does like to invent and play those dainty little shots that he's played there. So it'll be interesting to see what he plays as. Like, we saw Liam's shot there where he just swiveled round, played a very typical big man shot,
Yes.
muscling it. Score there, Phil?
Hang on. I've got it off here, mate. Got the bowler waiting. Can you, mate?
Okay.
In the junior game that is unsanctioned match, it would appear somebody has thrown a cricket bat and said you cheated, and now they've all run off crying.
Yeah,
and not very happy there.
or they could have gone for drinks.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's 96.
So 96 after 16.
16.
4 off that last over, including the run out. Just 20 hours, mate. I say he's not putting 19 points right. As this one's just back of the length. Is that Jatinder bowling again?
Yeah.
It is Jatinder Singh bowling his third. Or his fourth? Third over. Oh, that's a massive wacky do from one of the Fraser Tech batsmen to.
That's the first 6 of the day.
Yeah, I think it might be. It was a brilliant shot from one of the tail enders from Fraser Tech. That landed a few metres away.
It looked like he aimed it at us.
Yeah, but thankfully, I I think the last game of cricket I did, they were literally aiming for me. It was going left, right, over, and the problem was that if it missed me, it was going to hit my car. It was the issue because my car was not far behind. Some big shots. Oh, this one squared him up, bit of an edge, but they've taken a single for Hayden.
Bowler followed the batsman there. Definitely they're gonna go for it now.
So a couple of men going forward, a couple of men going back. So finally coming inside the circle, deep mid wicket going to backward square now. Here's the next ball to Watkin, has bowled him onto the off stump, taking him. Watkins out. Watkins a wicket, and that sees the end of him. Goes for the heave, takes off stump. The wicket's starting to fall here for Star, which is not a good sign for them or Marist Suburbs.
I missed that.
He's just hit the 3/4 of the way up off stump. This has gone for the heave. But I mean, they needed to up the run rate here.
So he's gone out now, James.
They have no choice but
He's
to
gone out
start
to bat
swinging.
now. So,
Elliot Law, the new batsman. Simon Wood coming running off, and
Broken bail.
it's not a change of umpire we need a change of bail. How's the conditions out there, Simon?
warm.
It is very warm, is it?
It is very warm.
Umpires always have a good bag of gear that they need just in case something like this happens.
Even better when they can find it.
Just update Simon has found his tools and will replace the bails. Elliot Law playing in his third game. 6 runs, both not out. An average of 80, a strike rate of 85.
Tick.
So what's the Fraser Tech? What did Fraser Tech end up on, Brian?
102 for 7 of 20.
Yep. So that's against Boys High. Boys High pretty much guaranteed to be playing in the final this afternoon.
They need 103 to win.
Yep.
It'll be interesting to see what that pitch is playing like.
Well, that's the game where the Ace final will be played on later on. Is the first ball to Elliot Law. Just squeeze him up a little bit and down to third man. They come back for 2
Oh,
and get there quite comfortably in the end.
nice little skill there by the wicketkeeper.
Well, one thing I hadn't mentioned about that dismissal the ball before was that not only was it bowled, it was also caught behind because Matt did a brilliant job taking a catch off the wickets. It was a great piece of work. This one is down leg side, going to be called wide. Do you know what the car is? It's a black Danielle.
Oh, yeah.
And there is a beach.
It just looked like he'd lost his rhythm when he was about to release that ball.
Yep. And if there's one way to define bowling, it is rhythm, isn't it?
Yeah, that was a great ball. Nice little in the block off. I think that's what you need to bowl. That's what they are looking for. Nice full and straight. Stop the batsman from trying to hoik them over the heads.
Yeah, Jatinda's doing very well in this over. Not only that wicket, but just bowling it tidy and trying to close out the over.
There you are.
He's misfielded, not happy with himself too, but pretty tough attempt to stop that in its full.
Definitely. Hit him on the shin.
Score there, Phil?
101.
101 after 17. So 5 off that over as well as the wicket. 3 overs to go. Well, 120 is still looking likely, but
They're definitely going to need a minimum. Yeah, 120. If they could go 10 runs and over, yeah, then I think they'll have a little bit more to bowl at.
so just a reminder, Fraser Tech, they managed 102 for 7 off their 20 overs. And meanwhile, over on pitch 2, Melville batting first, they're 124 for 5 in the 16th. Now Suburbs need to win that game as well as requiring Star to win this one for them to make the final. May just look like it's going to be an old boys high final currently though, but we all know what happens in a game of cricket. Anything.
That's it.
And if anything happens, it generally does. A la a World Cup final that was played in July sometime.
Well, at least you're talking about that World Cup final. It was unlucky that the Black Caps lost that game.
Single down to long off. Well, at least we made the semi-finals is what I think is a fair idea, mate. And you're going to bring up some other sport. Ryan, was there any other World Cups this year? I know there was Netball World Cup. I know who won the netball.
Do you know who won the rugby?
What's rugby, mate? I've got no clue what rugby is.
Yes, we can only claim one. The most unexpected one too.
Yes.
Netball.
The one that was seemed a bit less likely. But anyway, back to the cricket. This one's full for a single.
Oh.
Yes, having to play cricket with a bunch of South Africans wasn't really pleasant. But hey, at least we did beat you in pool play. We'll take that.
Yeah, the game that doesn't count.
What was that, Phil?
The game that doesn't count.
Yeah. I think though most All Black supporters would take a loss over South Africa than a loss to England.
I think anybody would take a loss over the All Blacks as opposed to a loss over England.
Yes, as this one is down just past mid-off on. I'll pick up 2.
Oh.
It's called for 3, but yeah, they've come back. The throw is not that great, and they get there well.
It looked
That
like
was
it hit
great.
his knee
In
there.
the end,
He's fixing his divot.
It was great running, wasn't it, really? The ball was up in the air for a short amount of time, but went wide of the fielder, and it was a good chase, but yeah, good running by the batsman.
yep. And I thought the call of 3 was very early, but in the end got there comfortably.
Is that must have been the first 3 I've seen this in this innings. Oh, that was a beamer. That should be no ball.
It is being called a no ball.
I suppose that's what you get when you run 3, hey?
And a bye.
So free hit
So what do we do here?
being
So we go-
signalled there.
So we go extras, and you go no ball. There's the field start to move with the free hit. No ball. Good opportunity to add to the runs.
That was a nasty ball. That was fast and it was.
No ball.
I'm just glad I wasn't the batsman.
Having to do some multitasking with the scorers as well, because in the old days those used to just be no balls, but because there were no, because it didn't come off anything, they're signalled as byes as well. So rather than penalising,
Slower ball. Straight up.
yep, straight up in the air. Who's got it? I don't know. Is
No,
anyone?
No one.
No one. No.
They just get a run.
And they've got a run.
Oh, yes, it's free hit.
It's a free hit, but of course on a free hit there is the chance of a run out. The only time I've seen it, guy took a running in catch from deep mid wicket, took the catch one-handed, threw it in and run the guy out. One of the best catches I've taken though was an absolute screamer right in front of the opposition. Both of us were celebrating. I thought they were signalling 6. And I'm like, no, the line, because it was right on the line, right before the line. And no, we're celebrating the catch. And as I'm celebrating, my team goes Bevan, it was a free hit. I was not a happy man. But that's the way cricket crumbles sometimes. As the next ball is, that is a full one as well. It is a no ball.
And it's
Helped round the corner. 4 runs.
bowler getting
And
warned.
there's definitely a warning going out there. I don't think I have seen someone in club cricket that's been taken off
So what is it? So
just yet.
we go. Unlucky there for the bowler, second one of the over, and maybe a little bit of pressure. Maybe he's just trying a little bit too hard.
What
this next one's a free hit. In case you're wondering, the microphone's picking up fine.
Cool. Yeah, I did run it.
I was just looking at that.
Did not listen to
I'd still rather the hit.
Yeah.
Josh runs in for a free
Oh.
hit. Oh. And there's a catch.
It's actually a really good catch.
That was a good shot though by the batsman. Eh?
Not the catch of the day though, Ryan, because you missed out on a pearler this morning. And as I was just saying, catch doesn't count because it was a free hit. Interesting looking.
Disappointing Marist on the other
Ramp.
hand, over here earlier, caught one. The man just stepped over the boundary. He was disappointed, of course. As you've already mentioned, Bev, Marist having to win this one. And the Marist Suburbs boys, yeah, a little bit disappointed. Big chance outside, but taken over the boundary as Star get another one.
Down to long on.
Rotating the strike well.
That's the end of the over, Phil.
116.
116 with 2 overs to go. The Marist's problem though, Ryan, and it wasn't something till I wasn't aware till today, that they lost to both Old Boys and Boys High by the same margin, and the margin was by 1 run.
Wow.
Oh, horrible.
And pool play, I had the option of watching the Old Boys game, but I decided to go home that day, and I was too busy for the Boys High to attend the Boys High game as Marist scorer. Yes, both teams that could be in the final, Marist lost by the smallest of margins, both. And that's just cricket and sport though.
It is, as we know from World Cups, there's lots of different factors that go into winning a game or positioning yourself on the table. I believe there wasn't a lot between the net run rate with Star and Marist Suburbs.
No, actually it's the other way around.
Was it the other way around?
Marist have the predominant net run rate,
Yes.
and Star have a very outside mathematical chance due to how poor theirs is.
It's been quite a competitive tournament this. Like, nobody really has outright dominated the other teams.
Yeah, well, as this one is, we've got a Ben Stokes moment coming out here, but it's only going to third man. I think if you're not sure what happened in the World Cup final that caused all the controversy, although that actually might have, I thought they'd come off the bat, but that's helmet by the look of things. It's interesting. It looks okay though, so that's good.
The level of cricket that I've seen over the past couple of months as well has been of a pretty high standard. I think there's a lot of guys out there who obviously train hard and are putting the performances out. And today's the day to do it, isn't it?
I turned up to the Marist training on Tuesday night because I generally like to do a bit of bowling practice myself, as this one is just over the top of the bowler. Into the ground, take a single, and they're taking 2 on the misfield. And again, that throw is very wide, and a comfortable 2 in the end. Yeah, so I turned up to training and they said they were going to do a warm-up, and I thought I'll join in the warm-up, and I said, thanks very much guys. I think I'll stick to commentating and scoring though. I think I managed 5 of the 15 press-ups and crunches that they were doing.
Stars running between the wickets have been good.
As I'm exclaiming in silence at a bit of an interesting looking fielding attempt by one of the Marist fielders out there. Go back to this game though. This one is edged safely for a single.
That was a good ball. It jogged back into the lefty there.
No, it's been signalled as leg buys, that one.
Yeah,
rather
I think it
than
struck him just above the pad. I tell you what, he's been in the wars. Last 2 incidents have involved ball hitting the body somewhere. This is why we sit up here on the bank and just watch.
It can be safer.
Oh, you got the ball to come back into the lefty quite nicely there.
What's the score there, Phil?
It's 121.
121.
With how many do you go?
How many?
Is it an over, or was it?
One over plus 3 balls.
So still got 9 balls to go in 121. Starting to think I'd missed an over there, and we were in the last. As gives himself some room, edged, but down to the man at third man, just for a single. Well, they've got the 120, Brian.
Yeah.
This is what we said Star would need.
But they're still in for a shot for 140. I think 140 here would probably be a hard score to get.
Never looked like never looked like there was going to be a score of 140 though.
Yeah.
So, just with the Marist Melville game, Melville 155 for 5 after 18. Haven't got the full scorecard there, but I've got a funny feeling to start with Melville. They were at least 77 for 5 at one point. So this is
I'd say Keir's got a big score still there.
there's a great partnership going on there between Keir Beatley and Tariq as this ball's down to long on. So Keir's on 41 off 25 and Tariq's 42 off 31.
Change up a pace there. He just brought that one in a little bit slower and made the batsman just get on his back foot, have to push through, and just the single. Well, I mentioned a couple of times, the running has been good. They've rotated the strike, which of course keeps the field on their toes. Maybe not quite the runs that they'd like, but still sitting around average so far this afternoon.
Yep.
I think.
So it's ball outside off stump. Football to finish and score there, Phil.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3 with it for 6 after 19.
7. 1, 2, 3, 7.
Thank you. As soon as you said 7, I was like, yeah. So I don't think Brian 140 is possible. I think from here start 130 will be their target.
Yeah. 130.
And at the start of the game too, they'd be happy with 130.
Well, considering after that, was it the first over with Josh with that blind overcut?
You know what time, please?
230.
I have to work it all out.
Look,
Look,
don't count what time. What time to
Just
field?
in the same.
What time?
yeah.
2:30?
So
1, 2. Yeah, he's on 4.
There's no point carrying the sign.
Now I've written it down. That's why I do a C here so you can.
Josh is running into bowl now.
so Josh Brown, it is, isn't it, Phil?
Yeah, it's just real.
Oh, he's searching for that Yorker.
It's a good
One.
punch down the ground. Take a single. Just dip out for the last over. Yep. Come in first change.
Yeah.
And at the start of the second.
A little change of bowler there, bowler coming around over the wicket now.
Yeah, it's the old
To the-
left-hand, right-hand combination, isn't it?
Oh, he found the edge.
Oh, found the edge. It's going to help him.
Gonna go for 4 there.
It will roll under the hedge there.
I'm surprised they're not. They don't have a slip for Josh. He is the quicker out of the bowlers, and he tends to get the edges going there.
They've got a man that is back there, just on the ring, but almost a flag gully. Because they're kind of hoping at more of an edge to get to him.
Slower ball, well picked up by the batsman. There should be 2, yeah.
2.
They're comfortably in now for 2.
And again, some great running as Ryan Gilbranson had mentioned earlier.
That was a good shot there by the batsman. He was like in 2 minds. He looked like he wanted to hit it out the park, and then he saw the gap, pushed it in there.
So it's 130 after with.
Oh, that's a cheeky shot.
Well, it is now 2 balls to go because that's dot 1 after he's tried the ramp again and hasn't got anything on it. Well, he tried that earlier, didn't he? But he played it to the man
That is waiting
on the
for it.
ring,
Yeah.
but it was a free hit, so that's the reason why he tried it again. And they take a very quick single. No attempt at the stumps because no one within Kiwi to be able to back up, so great decision.
There's also good running between the wickets there.
For the last one.
Last one, yeah.
So 1 ball to come, 131 is the score. Sorry, Brian, to cut you off there.
No, that's right. I thought the running was good. They pressured the fielder there.
Great awareness
I'll catch you.
by the fielder not to throw, as this one is
Swing and a miss.
swing and a miss, goes through for the bye, straight the stumps,
he's
and he's missed it.
Are they going to go for 2?
They will, and there's not going to be a second attempt at the stumps.
2 balls.
So Brian, 133 for 7 after Stars 20. I think Star will be happy with that one.
They definitely will.
3. Set 133.
That is going to be, if they field like Hamilton All Boys did, then it's going to be a very interesting.
Is that what you got, Phil?
Yeah, I've got 133, but I have to try and fix that
Yep.
run. So how do we do
So-
end innings, or do we say no?
Just hang on, Phil. So 133 for 7. Join us back in about 10 minutes for Old Boys Chase. Just an update on the Melville Maris game. 166 for 6 with 1 over to go there.
That is turning out to be quite a score.
walking alone. I feel the rain crashing down all around this empty town. I'm searching for the lost and found, but you don't care, you're unaware. Keep moving like the scars aren't even there. It's in the air like a blazing flare. Don't stare 'cause the flames will burn us. I thought you were the one for me. That's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. I used to kiss your head when you cried for me. Hold your hand while the pain was over. Keep you warm by the roaring sea. You meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. My darling dear, you're never here. When I'm in pain, you hide and disappear. Like shadows in the atmosphere, charting the stratosphere. Yeah. I prayed for you and kept you near in hopes you'd chase away my fears. I'm on my own, you made it so, and now I'm chasing nightmares too. I used to run with you through the great big leaves, laugh at you when you laugh at me. Hope for us because I believe the home was just you and me. I thought you were the one for me. That's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, I'm gonna do this on my own. No point in blaming you, you did not know. Oh, I thought you were the one for me. That's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, I'm gonna do this on my own. No point in blaming you, you did not know. Oh, I'm gonna do this on my own. No point in blaming you, you did not know. I thought you were the one for me. That's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me.
This weekend, we're extending our summer of life-size savings with at least 30% off everything store-wide. Go bigger than big and get all the life-size savings you need this summer at Briscoe's. Hurry in Sunday.
Searching for music for your next video? Then you need to check out Artlist. With amazing new music added daily and one simple license that covers everything. Artlist is the music licensing platform for all creators. Start now and find the perfect song. Artlist, made for creators.
Go when you want to.
Well, good afternoon, Brian. The stage has been set now. Now we're going to see the chase from Hamilton Old Boys. Brown and Hatwell opening the batting, and they'll be looking to, I think, start well. You can't say they're guaranteed a final, but if they can bat well, get this win, we'll see them later on this afternoon. So, how do you see things? You went out to the pitch earlier. How was it looking?
It does look like there's no demons in that wicket at all. There's a lot of grass. It looks like you could trust the bounce.
It's gone back, just push that.
And if they can push the singles, I can't see why they won't just stroll into the final there.
Chasing 133?
133 to 1, yes.
Yep. Doesn't look like they need to do anything too extravagant.
First ball. And it's interesting. I didn't see how that pitched, but nice early movement.
Jutted back into him slightly, but definitely going down leg side there. Did a little bit of nerves there by Brown. Let's see how the older guy goes.
How's the surface after the first innings on that pitch, Brian? Was it very patchy at all?
It's slightly roughed up,
Yes.
but if it looks like it's still good for another 60 or 80 overs, I reckon. It's got that much grass, and it doesn't look like it's been rolled very much with like a heavy roll or anything. So it looks like it's going to be there for a long time. He comes in for the second. Oh, swing and a miss.
We talked about bounce when we went out and had a look in the middle. We thought would really have to try hard. You'd have to bend that back to get it into that wicket.
Definitely.
He's getting a bit of bounce here in that last ball. So this is the first over of the T20 here in Hamilton this afternoon. What a cracker day.
It is a beauty. Got a little bit of a breeze coming up now, so definitely helping us in the commentary box here.
I think it's the CCP, isn't it? Brian, if you get that reference, the central commentary position. I know Ryan does.
It's a good spot to be in. Bless the man who provided the tent. I know the umpires, when we had that change of bail in that first session, he said it was pretty warm out there. As you say, that breeze is coming in nicely, and it's coming across the pitch as the bowler runs in.
He definitely
Bit
bent his
shorter.
back there to get that bounce.
Yeah, he's trying hard to dig it into that wicket, isn't he? You did say to me, you're really going to have to try hard to get it. He's putting in the effort in the opening over.
but it also doesn't look like he's getting that swing like the bowlers in the first innings got in the first 4. He might be just holding it a bit across seam to try and get that bounce. I'd like to see him just go a little bit fuller now. He rolls in.
Well, he's gone over the top.
And it's the one bounce 4. That was centimetres from being a 6, the first of the game.
Right. Here's the next bowler.
That was a good shot.
4, 5.
Straight over the
8,
bowler's head.
8.
And unfortunately for the batsman, it was only one small bounce. Unfortunately for the bowler, it was.
Who's this roller?
It was a real bonus to end the over. 8 after the first over. So Old Boys really sort of stamping their mark early and saying we want to knock this off. Of course, if they do knock it off quickly, they can have a bit of a rest in the shade and get ready for that final. So, maybe the talk was at the break, let's put our foot down early. We've got a few batsmen. Let's just see how it plays. They would have got a good look at the pitch and especially the out oval conditions while they were having a bat. They could see how while they were having a field, they could see how that ball rolled along. And we talked about it earlier, the state of the outer oval.
Yeah, the outfield. It is. The grass is pretty long on the outfield, so it is going to be a slow roll. Hey? So the 2s are there, the 3s are there, especially with the way they've set up the field, all in now. So go over the head, and they could easily get the 2s and the 3s. Oh, down leg side. Good stop by the wicket.
At the risk of giving myself a nickname, but I talked about running about 5 times in the last 5 minutes, maybe, maybe 10. But you touched on it. It was a key to Star's perseverance, I think, as a batting unit, and there are runs there to be had despite the length of grass in the outfield.
That is it. Good ball by the bowler. Definitely the taller guy gets the better bounce there. He bent his back nicely into that.
Well, I've just gone to my car and grabbed something and talked to the Old Boys guys, and I tell you what, they seem, with the amount of stuff they were saying at me, I think they're feeling pretty positive about things, because they were pretty chirpy about a couple of things. One of the guys, I can't think who took the catch at first slip, that took that screamer, not happy that it wasn't on the live stream. I said we did at least give the commentary justice though of it.
That was a blinder. I think even Jonty Rose would have been proud of that one.
Despite the 2 wides, I think he is bowling in the right area. He's not giving the batsman any room to really move or free his arms up and get a shot away. He'll be disappointed. He sent a couple down leg side and cost himself a couple of runs, but all in all, he's probably putting in the right place. He just needs to adjust that radar a little bit, and he might have the batsman in trouble. And he comes again.
Oh, here we are.
How close was that to the stumps?
Very close.
That was millimetres. He's trying to push that batsman back, it looks like. And given his height, he is getting a little bit of steep bounce, especially when he bends that back out.
When you talk about the runs, you still have to get them, and cricket is a funny game. As the bowler comes in again, this one a little bit fuller, pushes up around his toes, and he manages to work it around for a single, so he'll be happy there. Despite the wides, he hadn't actually gone across the pitch, so he'll be happy to sneak that one away.
There's the 2 good-looking guys on camera there.
Good afternoon, Hamilton. Welcome to Beavs Broadcasting.
Hello.
What a good bugger, coming down here on a Saturday afternoon and setting this up to bring you some great cricket. Despite not being able to see all 3 games, I assure you, these pitches have brought a brought a bit of something today. Big score over with the Melville side as Star coming again, and this one that little bit shorter. It's put up in the air, but it's going to divide the fielders. Good chase, good flick behind the legs, and he's brought it in. He's just left it to 2, but a confident shot.
That was a good save there, and a great throw to the keeper.
Yeah, well, just going over to the Melville Maris. Maris chasing 172 and have lost their first wicket in the second over. I think that's Alex Clear that's gone off the field. Let's walk back to the pavilion.
171. Who was the highest scorer there?
I don't have the scorecard. I can't find the scorecard for it.
So despite the wides, he put it in the right place a couple of times there, and as we finish there is our second over.
Yes.
13.
It's the second over. End of the second.
Yep, so 13
runs. Yeah. Only 2 down, 2 overs down, not 2 batsmen down, but only 2 overs down, but still a long way. Good start, but some equally good bowling and committed fielding so far. That's a big total on that other side, guys. 170. That'll be hard. Maris would have walked off a little bit despondent. It's hard when it's in your hands, isn't it? It's hard because cricket isn't a straightforward game. There's so many factors to it. So, yeah, they would have gone off disappointed.
So I was just talking to Phil about that, guys, and Phil's been around Hamilton cricket for years. So if anyone would know, he knows, and he cannot recall a T20 game where side scored 170.
Wow. Well, we saw consistent scores over these 2 pitches. We saw a 133 to win and a 122, 123 to win over here with Fraser Tech batting first. So some consistency there, but really on that outside field, that was I'll say it. Okay, there's no bias. As a Merbs sponsor, that was hard. That was hard to watch. The boys will be a bit gutted. But we focus on this game.
Focus on the positive,
right? Not my one, not my one.
But the Maris strength is their batting, not their bowling, let's be honest. So they've got potential to get that score.
As he goes over the top.
Okay.
Alright.
Just helps with that confidence.
Okay.
No, that's right. I'm not telling you off, I'm just trying to help you.
So coming in again. This one's a little bit shorter, probably a little bit too short as he pulls away, and that second boundary of the innings, and quite a strong shot.
And it's just gone there by your team, and it hopefully would show the batsmen where they feel where their boundary is too. Bowler come running in again, tries to drop it short and gets hit over the head again. Another 4.
That instant replay brought to you by Bev's Broadcasting. Wasn't it? It was just a little bit too short. Maybe he saw what his mate down the other end was doing in that second over, and he was pitching it up. It got a little bit wide a couple of times, but he was pitching in the right place, and too short there. Third boundary of the over, only four balls down, and another strong over for Old Boys. It's looking like
that's a better ball.
It is a little bit better.
Are you a liar or am I?
Just didn't give him as much room then, did he?
I'd like to see this bowler pitch it up. I think he would be harder to play if he tries to find just a little bit better length. He's not as tall as that other bowler, so he definitely won't get that bigger bounce. So let him get his pitch it up and skid it into the batsman. There we are. That's the better ball. And he went for a single there, but it was a better ball.
So we end the third over here at Galloway Park in Hamilton.
25 without loss is the score. Just as I'm updating it.
Confident start, Brian.
Yes, it wasn't the best the best over from that bowler, but give him one more and I'm sure he'll do a better job.
So you think on this as well, eh?
No, I'm looking at you and
Oh.
I'm going over.
But we do agree that when we had a look at the wicket, it is definitely, there's two sides to that pitch. The one where the bowler was just bowling up to the wicket, a lot more grass by the batsman's feet. Now coming down this way, there's a lot less, there's more sand there, so I think this section here will definitely benefit the spin bowler better than and more so the pace bowling down towards us.
So Brown's facing, he's got a similar height to the bowler, he just puts that through and we see our first wicket. He just tried to caress it, but maybe he'll look back, not quite the right shot there, but Star, they strike, they needed to, and the first wicket goes down at 25 for 1 in the 4th over.
Yeah, he bounced him there, got a nice little edge.
One dropped on the boundary.
That's Jake Hardy, isn't it?
That bounce was
That Jake gone out, is it? Thanks, mate.
that was a great ball. He bounced him nicely there.
Jake Hardy.
Yeah, well, we saw in the last over, the radar wasn't quite on, but the length was.
Yeah.
And that time he got it right. Batsman walking back a little bit disappointed, but still a good start. It's a T20, 25 for 1 in the 4th over. So their run rate's looking good. Chasing 133 to win. So we all watched the massacre that was the Boxing Day test, and we're blessed that it's not as hot here as it was over there. Those conditions were crazy. Sydney got us just as hot. I believe in Penrith a couple of days or during that test, there was the hottest day on earth.
40.8 off the top of my head.
Wow.
Was that temperature in Penrith, just to the west, I think, of Sydney. The Panthers league team, if any of you aren't sure about Penrith, that's what Penrith Panthers play.
Well backed up. Well backed up there. Was a hard throw into the bowler's end, and Star saved themselves a couple of overthrows there. So they're energetic in the field. We've seen a good chase earlier. Not a lot of chipper going on. I'm one for chipper. As most people know me, I enjoy a bit of a combo, but still the energy's there.
The bowlers, he's found a great length and he's gone into a nice rhythm. He's not very quick, but that bounce makes up for the pace.
Yeah, good height as well coming in, from someone who suffers from Duck's disease. It's never easy when that ball is up around your armpits, and we saw him cramp him up in that 3rd over. I think it was his 3rd over. He got that line right, and he really cramped up the batsman as he comes in again. And that one a little bit loose out of the hand. Was that a slower ball?
That looked like a slower ball, looked like a knuckle ball there. Deceived you.
It did.
That was a great...
Showing my inexperience in the middle, I have someone here that can vouch for me. I scored my first runs in...
you didn't do too bad in that
20
match.
odd years a few weeks back, and it was the first time I'd been out on the pitch in around 20 years. So, it might have been 18 years. Trying to make it sound good. As he just gets that one a little bit wider and gives up a run.
It was a well disguised slower ball there, though. He should just go back to his length that he was hitting earlier. Not try too many things.
Yeah, well, this form of the game's about pressure, isn't it? And the more dot balls you can have, or the more uncomfortable you can make the batsman, the better. The last thing you want is having him being able to free his arms like that, and he really pushed that through well. I don't think it's quite going to go. We talked about the long grass in that outfield, and there's a few marks there. I'm guessing the sand part of the irrigation theory that they put on fields, but still well played. But yeah, go back to what you were doing. Go back to that cramping up of the batsman and make him play the shots. That's what you want to do in a chase.
That's it. Especially if you got the height and you are able to try and tickle the ribs of the batsman. I'm always one for that. I must say, going back to the what did you call that? The massacre Boxing Day. You know.
Shall we just call it the Australian massacre?
Oh,
I do enjoy watching Mitchell Starc bowl though. He's got the pace and he uses it and he gets that bounce too.
are you familiar with George Gregan? You know, he's the guy Kiwis just love to hate, and it's because he was so bloody good. And you know, you talk about Australian bowlers and look, even their batsmen to a point, but especially their bowlers. As a cricket lover, you know, there's nothing better than seeing those guys steam in and give it everything. That's why Wagner has just impressed me so much, because it's his effort, you know, and what he's getting out of those balls.
For sure. And like you were saying, I was watching a bit of that game, and the captain from the Aussies actually moaned at, I think it was Cummins, for not bowling fast enough, and said you had your chance and go and sit and think about your problems. If you are a fast bowler, then there's no need to try and bowl a slower ball or medium pace. I would prefer to see the fast bowler just go out there and bowl as quick as he can, and put that batsman on the back foot, terrorise him.
I think that's the hard thing for the Kiwis. You know, we've always suffered from it. It's just that lack of pace, and Australia have it in spades. As we start the fifth over, he pulls it. It goes to the boundary. He's going to bring up 34 runs for his team. They're one down, caught behind in the third over, I think that was, and he pulls that away nicely just to get that run rate back on track.
Elliot Satner is the bowler, also star captain.
Oh, that was a good. You got the ball to turn there.
Well, here's your spinner you wanted.
Yep.
That was a bit of leggy he does.
I'm surprised it turned from the end he's bowling it. I thought he would. The coming down the other way would turn better. Oh, dropped it too short.
Scoring a lot of runs around that area. Now Hamilton Old Boys move forward to 35 for 1.
The few times I've seen Elliot bowl, he's a typical leggy where he does struggle with his line and length. Quite similar with Ishsodi. But the reason why I bring up Ishsodi is the fact that he was playing last man stands during the week for caught short. Dot ball to Arnie Ujaraja at mid wicket. And he got 50 of 23 deliveries.
Wow.
We all know he can hold a bat, but I didn't think he could. Yeah.
Now, I'm disappointed they didn't employ your services earlier in the week, Bev, or last weekend, where we saw 6 sixes in an over. New Zealand record.
That was the son of Phil Rice. Who was that?
It was Leo Carter was the batsman.
Leo Carter, Bob Carter, who's done a lot of work around New Zealand.
It's up in the air and it's hanging for a bit. Good communication, great catch, and now 2 down. Old Boys I don't say that they're in trouble, but 35 for 2 now in that run chase of 133. And I talked about it a little bit earlier. Just it's good to have that mid-range target, but you still got to get it. You still have to get the runs, and whilst they were coming early, 2 wickets down now puts them under a bit more pressure.
Rightfully so. He played a shot that he didn't need to. The singles are there. And but that was a good catch. I mean, looking straight into the sun, and nobody really likes those horrible catches, you know, moves in the wind.
Is it Ken?
But obviously now they've got to just regroup on this innings and then just go for the singles and the twos and steady the ship a bit.
I feel the slower bowling, even from the spin, has still found a little bit of bounce. You talked about it when we went out to the pitch. It felt spongy. It seemed spongy. You thought that it might have a bit of. You knew that you'd have to get the bounce out, but you thought that it might be in there with the sponginess.
Yeah. It'll be on here, eh? Final here, eh?
maybe a wicket brought up of frustration there as we see a new batsman come in.
That's not
35 for 2.
No, exactly.
Star, well, let's get them chatting a little bit more maybe.
Yeah, they're very quiet out there.
Yeah, it's still Sharks.
I think they've gone to spin now.
37.
37 for 2 after 4. 5.
They've carried on with their pace attack coming down the hill.
So you can try and do what you like for 5 overs if you want.
So one to come, and we'll see a change in the commentary for the next 5 overs as Bevan, the boss, comes through. Here we are, Star running in. That one a little bit fuller, and they're just going to push through for a single. He's got him. He's got him.
So he's running. Is that Arnie, is it? No.
What a throw.
Yes, it is. Arnie Ujaraja, the one with the throw. I was too busy looking down at the score there, Ryan, and I can tell from your excitement and also Star's excitement, that was a pretty good one.
Well, mate, that throw has put them under real pressure now. Not only the wicket, but they're 3 down now. Boys, you said before they weren't feeling like this was going to get away from them, and now a batsman is coming in. We've seen them be cramped up. The ball's been a bit shorter to them. They haven't given them a lot of room, and now they're under a bit of pressure to perform. So this is going to be interesting now from Star.
Those reasonably average chasers can always just be too fiddly to work out an exact plan, and that's what's happened. And just unfortunate for Satvir there, his short stay at the crease comes to an end.
Time and time again, we see it with New Zealand. They'll head to India and they'll get the host down 30 odd runs for 2 in a test match, and we'll get all cock a hoop, and you end up with a score of 240, and you think the world's great and we're over India. But if one team can get 133, then the other has just as much chance to get 140 or 120. You know, it depends how this plays out.
Yeah, well, I think, I'm not sure who it was. It actually might have been, well, it was one of the Aussie commentators. It was Simon Dull that I've been listening to during the Dream 11 Super Smash. As this ball just jumps a little bit and single taken. You know that you can't judge a pitch until the other team's batted on it. Not always the case though, because you can have some teams that just go out there and try and smack it from the first ball, and don't give the pitch its justice. But I think this has been an even pitch for both sides. And Star started off quite well, and especially in the middle patches when Arnie was batting, as well as James Field. They did quite well, but then it just started to come a little bit more unstuck towards the end. So it could be interesting to see if Star managed to take this deep, the result of it, because it could really just start swinging round and round. But cricket's a funny game.
Star coming in, this one a little bit slower. It makes the batsman play forward.
So unfortunately, Ryan, for us Marist people, Marist Suburbs supporters, especially you that has some sponsorship with the players, they're 25 for 3 after 6, chasing 172. So I think they'll need to pull a couple of rabbits out of that one to get home.
I like to sound posh and say it's a financial investment in a sports team. That's how I justify it. I feel I own a player. Unfortunately, that player you and I both know well. And
I'm trying to think who it is. Sorry, Ryan. I really am trying to think. I know it's one of the Prudence players.
Geez, mate, I thought we had this conversation a few weeks ago down at Jansen. We were lying in the sun again on a beautiful Hamilton Saturday afternoon. A Star come in, this one a little bit shorter and another dot for him. So this is looking like a good over for the men in yellow and black. So Star, a combination of Star and University clubs. So donning Waikato University's famous red, yellow and black colours, and of course famous throughout this region.
Well, Thomas Shocker here, one of the really nice guys. There's plenty of nice guys around Hamilton cricket, but he is up there. In his last ball of his third over, 1 for 11 so far. And I tell you what, that one's just not quite carried through to Hayden.
Yeah,
Going to be a bye.
Keeper will be a little bit disappointed there because to a point it just puts that little bit of pressure off. They managed to get through for a single to end the over, but I thought Star just doing a good job there, Bevan, of creating a bit of pressure on Old Boys.
Well, 2 runs coming off it, including that bye, as well as the wicket. You couldn't really ask for much from for Star there. 39 for 2. Old Boys after 6, chasing 133.
You've come in at a good time, mate. It's an interesting part of the game, I think. These next 5 overs will be important considering the wickets.
Sorry?
1 up to 6.
Oh, thanks, mate. It's 39 for 3.
39.
39 for 3, not 39 for 9, Bevan.
Yes.
My fingers got a bit trigger happy there. Forgot what keyboard I was using.
So going back to our trivia question of the player, who was the player who would be, I guess, the most loyal and supportive, but maybe not the greatest face of your company?
I can think of one.
Or are there a few in the Marist Suburbs clan like that?
No, I don't want to
wrong?
put any players down is all. I don't like some negativity. I'm thinking it's Paddy.
No, it's not Paddy.
It's not Paddy.
No, let's call him Bunny.
Okay, yeah. It is Brendan O'Neill.
A great lad, so passionate about his club and
you look at him and you
sport
don't.
He plays.
You look at him and you think he's really quiet, but he's not. He is. He can really talk, and again, he is a really nice guy.
Oh,
There's
yes.
a bit of a mix-up here. Back to the bowler, but I don't think Kendall was interested. Hang on, who's on strike?
No, Kendall's on strike.
Well, Kendall was actually the person that wanted that run, but
Yeah, I think maybe a little bit tight, and considering the circumstances, Bevan, maybe not the right option.
Brooke was sitting on his bat, basically.
So it's about pressure. Has Star come in again? This one a little bit full, a bit down the leg, and they're wide, so an extra. Fielders just shake their head a little bit, and
How many then?
they know they want to keep this pressure on.
So 4 wide so far in the innings. As tidy as the bowling's been, the wides are starting to creep up a little bit, is all.
Yeah, 7th over, 4 extras like that. As they come in again, a little bit shorter, but they managed to get through for a run. And I don't think we've invested quite enough moolah for the old run rate statistic at the moment, Bev. But I was away the day that they did maths at school, so I don't know if somebody
All
wants to
6
work
years.
that- all 6 years, yeah. In fact, no word of a lie, mate. In my 6th form, I did not. I think I attended 3 classes. Every time I went into my Star just coming in again.
Oh, that's right.
Every time I went into my sort of group class, they said, "Where were you?" And I said, "Well, I was there." See, the problem is that he ticks the away present boxes in a different way to other teachers. I said, "On there," I said, "How could how could I miss an entire week of maths?" And they saw this as logical. How could you miss an entire week of maths without people knowing? So yeah, not great, but managed to get away for it. So Star coming in again. And another little single through. So with the wide, that probably moves them through to 3 or 4 for this over, which they'll be happier about. Still haven't been able to get it past the fielders at the moment.
Well, Liam Watkins, the bowler from this end, I think we can call this the southern and northern ends, which is what I've done previously.
Yeah, good call there with that, Bevan, as they just push it through in between point and cover and manage to sneak another one through.
It's on YouTube.
So I will say, yeah, Brendan O'Neill, mate, top bloke. I've got two two little kids, and they love him. He's great with the kids and really respectful. And I've known him for quite a few years now. He's been captain of my rugby team that I've coached in the past. The Star moving again a little bit slower.
A little bit slow. I think that was it was going that slow. It started going backwards. Actually,
mate, when you've got my pace, that's a little bit slower. Okay. But no, deceived the batsman somewhat. He played it air, and Star finish a fairly tidy over, but Old Boys will just be happy that they've managed to get ball on bat a couple of times, push it through for a few runs. They've rotated the strike well, and we move now into the 8th over with Old Boys, I believe, at 44 for 3. I don't know if Bevan's updated that or not. My apologies.
It is 44 for 3 after 7, Ryan. You're sticking to your bowlers there. Sticking to your bowling action there. Ryan, I was too quick for you. I reckon we should get you padded up into the nets one day, mate, and I'll send some down at you.
What, target practice?
Got a beard on.
I can't.
Is that right? Got a beard on.
Cooper, who's the bowler? No, we don't have that name.
So no idea coming in from the northern end. He looks like
Assad Kidwai. Thanks, H.
looks like he's going to carry a little bit of pace in here. So you'll be able to catch up with Brian again after the 10th over about that pitch. But Bevan, I don't know if there's an opening at ACC or the Channel 9 team, but
Channel 7 now.
Oh, Channel 7, sorry. Jeez.
Yep, you've slipped a few years.
Yeah. But yeah, I think he read the pitch well. Thought it was a little bit spongy. Thought you could get a little bit of bounce out of it with a bit of effort, but it's sort of stayed true to
one thing
what Brian thought.
One thing I don't think we've touched on with Brian is that this was his, unlike you and I who have some commentating experience. Brian's first day today, and as I've told him, just needs to stick with it. He's doing a great. He was doing a great job. Marvelous. Absolutely marvelous
job.
2 for 2, 2.
Thanks, guys. You popped my cherry now.
Oh, and with his
called...
first ball, is it?
No.
The umpire's fingers stayed down. We thought with his first ball of the session, he came in like a locomotive there, just came steaming in.
I thought he was a medium pacer, not realise he felt that quick. Assad Kidwai as the bowler. Yeah,
he
obviously
warms up with a dour pace, Bevan. He really brings it in. I was saying to Brian earlier, is what I admire most about our Black Caps bowler Wagner. Sorry, name slipped my mind for a sec. But Wagner, just the effort as they push that away, and we'll just get the single. But yeah, the effort from Wagner, mate. That's Kiwi, isn't it? It's probably a bit South African as well.
I think mostly it's South African.
Yeah.
You know how good somebody is and how much effort they put into it, but how much the Australian commentators talk about him.
Yes.
The Australian commentators could not get enough of Neil Wagner. Brian, do you know where he's from? Oh, it's gone.
Well, I'm hoping he's from Durban, so I'm going to have to Google him.
Claim him.
I've got a funny feeling it is somewhere around that area.
So here we go. How's he going to back up after his first ball? He's steaming in again. Look at the dust coming through. They push it through just for a single, but he's keeping the batsmen on their toes.
I'm glad that happened, Ryan, because I think Brian said a filthy word, a filthy name. I think he tried to sneak in a filthy another South African player. I'm not calling the player South African filthy. Sorry, I'm just saying.
But it's Labaskachny.
Yeah, Labaskachny, Marcus Labaskachny. He's doing a brilliant job with the Aussies. Is this one? Oh. Tell you what, Assad Kidwai is causing all sorts of problems here for Brook. It is Brook, eh?
Unfortunately, Neil Wagner was born in Pretoria, so he must be a Bull supporter.
What do you mean,
deep in his heart?
Because Ryan's coastal.
Being born something not unfortunate.
We all have places like that, though, don't we? And I know during Mitre 10 Cup, it's Canterbury for me. Actually, when it comes to Super Rugby, when it comes to anything, it's Canterbury for me.
You really did turn up late today, Ryan, because we had that discussion.
Really?
and no one could argue about everyone not liking Canterbury.
We'll tell Mr. Robinson about under pressure this season to try and win.
Yes, I think just not to digress too much on rugby, but I think this will be the year that he is tested. I think he does have some great attributes as coach. As Star come in again, this one a little bit shorter, maybe lacking a little bit of the pace, a slight misfield, but no harm.
The field just couldn't quite get down to it, and he's a bit gutted with himself, but great running there. As Ryan, you were saying earlier with Star, and you just got to put pressure on the fieldsmen and make them make those mistakes.
8.
So 48 for 8 after 8. I was trying to do
48 for
multi-task.
8.
48 for 3. It's a bit like my refereeing, Ryan. It's not what I say, it's what I'm signalling. It's as long as the score's there is right.
The score's there, people.
I mean, I might have black, blue and black teams, but I've managed to say yellow.
For our visually impaired audience, I apologise. We'll get it sorted, but for everybody else, you've got it there at the bottom left-hand corner, and it's not an easy job as a Bev. You got your fingers on many buttons there, mate. Trying to do everything. So
no, but I'm managing. It's still going.
A couple of oopsies.
Tell you what, the cold run at the end of the day, though, Ryan. On days like this, as much as I enjoy doing this, it does make that cold one feel really good.
Nothing wrong with the brown fizzy, as he really pushes that one through.
I'm glad to know that there's someone from our suburbs who doesn't realise I don't drink beer. The Mara Suburbs Premier team certainly knows I don't drink beer. But anyway.
Nothing wrong with an LMP, that kind of brown fizzy, is it?
I'm glad you go with the LMP.
Yeah.
Because you don't know where I'm from, do you? Right.
No, I don't actually. Although, hold on. We'll take a stab in the dark, I think. But I know you know Barry Rhodes. I know there's a few guys out Morrinsville way that you know. So I could take a stab and say Morrinsville. But
no.
But with that comment on that, I sort of think I have to go out into the valley a little bit more.
Right.
Can I go Te Araha?
No, Simon Wood's from Te Araha. I am from LMP country.
You're from Paira.
I am from
Paira.
Yes. Born and bred in Paira.
Nice little place, isn't it?
Yes.
You know what? I've actually got a soft spot for a lot of those little towns. I myself am from a small town, the King Country, but I really actually enjoy those valley towns. There's just something.
Oh, this is a
wacky
do. It is. Ooh.
And that one's unique as well. It's the first 6 of the afternoon. Yeah. It carried enough. Showed a bit of dust just after the white line.
Yeah, that one was a great wacky do, and it's bounced, and because of the way the dust kicked up there, Ryan, I wasn't too sure whether it was on the line or. But
the Maris field will signal London Milk.
Yeah. It certainly looked quite positive. So first 6 of this match. Here's next ball just into the pads, and I'll go through for a leg bye. But I've sort of got my eye on 3 games here, just because I do. And there was actually a great 6 hit in the Marist game, a ball before actually.
Speaking of which, Marist goes straight over the top. That one's.
There's another one. There's another 6 over there. Who was it?
So we talked earlier about the prowess of Marist hitting it, as apart from their batting, as apart from their fielding and all round play.
This one's just down to long on for a single. They're looking for 2. Kendall Nolan. Kendall's over too, isn't it?
And I'm not quite sure how they're doing, Bevan. Have we got an update of that Marist chase? I know they were up around the 170s that they had to get. And they lost a couple of early wickets. So I don't quite know how they're going at the moment.
Score over there is 60 for 3 with 1 ball to come in the 10th. I tell you what, Ryan, we're a bit surrounded by South Africans at the moment. Kendall Nolan, I've just checked, he's South African as well. Is pushed through from Brooke Hatwell, that'll be 4 runs.
Well, he enjoyed that mid-wicket area during that over. Got the first 6 of the afternoon for his old boys' side, and then finished that one really well by pushing that through for 4 runs. So ended up being an expensive over after that 4. It was bad enough getting the one in the air, but they finish on 61 in the 10th over, and we're going to see a change of commentary at the end of the over with Brian coming back in, and old boys a little bit more comfortable, Bevan, but still a bit of pressure on 3 down.
Yeah, well, just shy of the halfway mark in their innings, and I think Wasp would be showing 60% in old boys' favour. That's how I have it.
Have we found anyone with a calculator of run rate required?
No, if I was doing the scoring as well, I could tell you the what Crick HQ would show Wasp.
Now, just for some people watching, mate, we may not have all the info on that. I only found out about that app earlier in the year when I came down and saw you one afternoon at Jansen. Good way to keep up with all the scores and the tables and that sort of thing. What is that website?
So it's crickhq.com. It's what pretty much predominantly what New Zealand competitions around the country use.
Right.
For club cricket, domestic, and that tend to use New Zealand cricket scoring system. There's a bit of debate which is the preferred Anu Jaraj is the new bowler from the northern end or the hedge end.
Now, it's a great app for when I'm at home. As you know, I live not far from Jansen, and I can check my app, see who's in, see how it's going, and just walk down and watch a few overs, and then go back, reese up to the missus, and see if I can get a few more minutes down at the park. It's
earlier you called me the boss, but I think she's the boss, isn't she?
Without doubt, mate. Happy wife, happy life.
Amen. Now, who's this from? Oh, this is Arnie.
It's Arnie. Yeah.
Must say, I don't think she'll be tuning in. She's not the biggest cricket fan, although she knew nothing about the game when we first met, and I've slowly sort of, just taught her the real basics so she can understand when we're going to Seddon and watching the Knights or the Spirit play. But one thing I just sort of can't implore enough to her is just how technical it can be and how every ball matters in a game, and it may not look like it to the untrained eye, but how technical.
So, couple of dot balls there, and then just one that Arnie's pushed wide and signalled by the umpire. Yeah, it's one of these things that you either get cricket or you don't. And once you understand the majority of what cricket's about, it is a really fun sport. Even if it is just T20s that you watch. And I wouldn't know where cricket would be without T20. I know over in the UK the T10 started, and there's been a bit of success around that, but it hasn't really started to take off immediately. Is they're going to take a quick single from Kendall. Seems to be the more positive of the runners between the two.
I don't know if I've missed this conversation as well, but have we talked about the 5 days going into 4 and your guys' thoughts, your immediate thoughts, yay or nay? You like or you don't?
You're about to duck off, Ryan, so you give us what you think.
Well, I'll start it off so you guys can finish. I don't like it. I understand, but there's just, in some games, there's just something about that day 5. Not when New Zealand are playing in Australia, of course, but...
well, that's where the 4-day test is great.
Yeah, maybe even 3. Well, Brian, you'll come in a sec, mate, and you'll be able to elaborate a little bit more on that last test, South Africa and England. What a great way to finish is... I'll move on. I'm going to go have a drink, and Brian will come in. But great last test, that one.
So 65 for 3 after 65 for 3 after 10. Here's Brian Hanson joins me. Brian, you've been sitting at the back there, and just before we get back to what Ryan was saying, old boys are still trucking along all right. Still doing what they need to.
They are. I think after that little rush of blood to the head where they lost that little bit of a couple of wickets and try to just rush the game, they've kind of got it back into what they should do and just play the ball on its merit and just get the ones and the twos going. Yep. Easy game.
Okay, so what Ryan was saying to you earlier about the 4-day tests, especially the recent one, where the man who just can't get out of playing cricket at the moment, Ben Stokes, took it away from you at the end.
Yeah, it was tough to watch, but good cricket. Look, I think I also don't agree with the 4-day format. Back when I was a lot younger, we never had a 5-day cricket in provincial. It was always 4-day.
Someone talked about that recently too on the radio. Is what would happen with 4-day cricket, 4-day domestic cricket, because that's what everyone domestically plays, is 4 days. So if we go to 4-day cricket, do we shrink domestic to 3 days as well? Personally, I think even if we kept 5-day tests, domestic cricket probably could go to 3 days anyway. First ball, Elliot Satner back into the attack, just a cheeky single down. So for you, why do you want to keep it 5 days?
I would like a few rule changes there. I'd like to keep it 5-day, but I would like obviously the RCC to make a standard wicket. So because you could go all around the world, and like India specifically, their wicket tends not to last 4 days. They tends to last only 3. Because you got your home ground advantage already. So there should be a set pitch. This is the way a 5-day wicket is going to be, and it should be designed to deteriorate on day 4, day 5. Like, for instance, Newlands historically has been a good batting and bowling wicket.
Single down to long on there, just quite nice and tidy. Yeah, but the problem was with trying to keep a standard wicket, and I understand all that, and ideally I think everybody would love that, is if you go to Mumbai, to Newlands, Cape Town, isn't it, Newlands? Yeah. 2 completely different climates in 2 different parts of the world, and trying to prepare pitches and fields the same is pretty impossible. And it would be great in an ideal world.
For sure. Yeah.
But like, I mean, New Zealand and Australia, even so, two different climates, and yeah, ideally to have the same pitch everywhere would be great. But on top of that too, having a different pitch also adds that challenge as well. New Zealand in every test at home, I can't remember the last time we played 2 spinners. We go to India, we go to the subcontinent, we play 3. We always take 3.
Yes.
Whether we play 3 or not is another thing, but we always take 3 spinners because you have to. So it changes that game, that thought a little bit.
Well, when you look at like India, you know, the crowd is enough. Is what, 120,000 people screaming and shouting for India. I mean, that's daunting in its own right.
Yes.
And then you throw in a wicket that turns like 5 meters, and you're not used to that. It's tough going for those, even if they are professionals. It's difficult. And when you see what India can make, what type of wickets they can make when you watch the IPL, from, you know, they can make a nice bouncy wicket if they wanted to.
Yeah. So 71 for 3 after 11, still hovering in old boys' favour at the moment, I think. But going back to that 5-day test thing, personally I thought 4-day tests would be better until that recent test in Sydney when they were talking about it on the radio. And I quite like listening to the ABC. I tend to find the ABC guys, I don't know whether it's radio over TV or not, but they go into more in depth about things.
Yeah.
And they pulled out some stats, and in the last 10 years, just over 50% of all tests went to 5 days. In the last 3 years, I think it dropped like 5%. It dropped to just under half.
Sure.
So numbers-wise, I don't see why you should have to go to 4 days. If over half of all test matches going into the last day, I don't see if there should be a discussion.
Well, I think they're looking for reasons also to try and liven the game up, because
it's got to be marketable.
Yeah, because people are not going to watch. Maybe look at like a super over in test.
No, we don't. Look, Brian, I thought I'd said this before. We don't talk about super overs here.
Oh, sorry.
We do not talk about super overs. So, first run of Arnie's 3rd ball of this over, keeping it quite nice and tight here, and a half-hearted shout for run-outs. Yes, we've all talked about World Cups and that, but no, super overs is the last thing anyone wants to talk about in New Zealand. Oh, he comes down the wicket in a bit of a chip sweep. Down to wide long on. And something I need actually for our live stream is someone to do stats. I reckon Joe Walker would be a great man for that. Although for some reason he's quickly disappeared.
Yeah.
Because how many runs has he been off misfields today? There's been quite a few.
Definitely Extras has been the top scorer, I would say. But
74.
I always thought that the bounce for the spinners would be a little bit more coming down from what you call that side, the hedge end. Is that right?
Hedge or northern end, yes.
Northern end. And it does show a little bit of extra bounce.
Yeah.
So 74 for 3 after 12. And Star are just keeping themselves in this at the moment.
They definitely are. Like Boran, the captain is going to bowl another over. He had a really good over, the last one. He's getting the ball to turn.
What's house figures?
Earlier. 13 off 2.
That's right. They're just checking the field out.
2.
So he's gone for 13 off his 2 overs.
It's not bad when you consider.
He's
getting the ball to turn.
Oh, I tell you what.
That was a great ball.
That's a brilliant ball. Big loud appeal for LBW. Yeah, all that. All caught behind.
He got that ball to turn nicely away from the right-hand batsman. Now he comes in and dot ball.
Yeah, Kendall a bit annoyed with himself. He's taken a couple of steps down and tried to give it the heave-ho.
I think that's the only way to play him is to try and hit him straight.
Oh, this one's full. There's a sweeper out there though on the mid-wicket boundary.
Yeah, there was a poor ball, full toss.
I think he lost his footing a little bit there. Though, and interesting too, that there's more out of the pitch at this end for Elliott than there possibly was for Arnie down the other one, compared to the first innings.
Yes. Oh, we got a bit of bounce there.
Yeah, that's the second one on the over that has got that bounce. Arnie, were you getting a bit of turn it all out there, or? Yeah, but it's hard to see from back here for me.
Yes. Cut into the covers. 2 runs.
Quick 2.
So, Arnie is the other spinner from the other side.
Yep, who's just fielding in front of us that I was talking to there. He's saying he doesn't usually turn it, but he was getting the occasional from the far end.
I like the what the batsmen are doing here. They're looking to use their feet to
78 off 13.
to the spin bowler here, and he's scored some nice runs there.
Yes, so 78 for 3 after 13, requiring 55 from 48.
55 runs for 48 balls.
What's that?
13 or 14?
13 right.
Yeah, so 55 from 42 it is.
So the game is on. It's still there.
Yep. And Old Boy's only 3 down, so they've got Matt Whitley and others that can come in and hit.
Got a few strikers
Yep.
to come.
Phil, who are the other hitters in your team? I know Matt can hit the ball.
Who got left? Oh, Zach Smith's not a bad batsman.
Yeah, Zach Smith, you were saying earlier, the all-rounder. Yeah, funny, I thought Arnie might have been finished his spell. He's come from long on in front of us, run down the other end to bowl the next over.
Well, maybe he got surprised about the turn and said, "Hey, please let me do it again."
I reckon he's
full task.
he saw Kendall coming out of his crease a little bit there and just threw it wide. Kendall's got some bat on it down to long off for a single.
Definitely you're running into the bowl, and nice cover drive, stopped by the fielder, running back for the second, run out.
He's run that.
Ooh.
He's run that out.
Was that out?
Yeah, no, it's definitely run out. I think that might have been a Sard.
A side, okay.
Yeah, there was a
Yeah, that looks like a Sard
silly
down there.
second
So
there.
it's a wicket. They got one, didn't they?
Yeah.
So it's a run out.
Well, the interesting thing there about Brian about that run out
Who's out?
is that there was two. It was the call was two straight away. That's Brook, isn't it?
But he hit it straight to that fielder, and
Yeah,
that
that's Brook
fielder
gone.
did anticipate it.
Or was it?
No,
No, it's
no,
Kendall.
Kendall.
No, sorry, I realised that as Brook was taking that. So Kendall Nolan, man run out. Brook called the two.
You're going back to the fielding, and I must say it on both sides, is the throwing back to the wicky or the bowler has been spot on, just above the wickets.
So side, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's definitely how it looked like.
So the throwing back to the wicky and all that have been
He threw it to
bang on, just above the wickets, like that one there.
He threw it to, yeah, okay, so it was an assist to the bowler.
Great throw,
Who was
easy run.
Arnie. Yeah, well, that was the main thing too. The throw went straight in. Arnie caught it on the bounce. Had all the time in the world too.
With the bails off.
Whipped the bails off without an issue.
right? Next batsman is.
But I do believe that they're starting to panic again, the batsmen. Yeah, I personally wouldn't have gone for two, hitting straight to the fielder.
Who's gone out? Just under. Who's gone out to bat, mate?
Oh, Zach's gone.
Oh, Zach Smith.
So Zach Smith, the new batsman at the non-strikers end.
But it looks like it's getting very warm out there for the batsmen.
It's starting to warm up. It's 1:15 local time.
Facing is.
It's still Brook. Brook's still on strike. As this one's full and wide, just down to long off for a single. This game, as I stated with Ryan, as it's coming towards the end, it's starting to swing around a little bit more, and you'll find it will start going one way and then coming back the other way a little bit. I think personally Star have snuck their noses in front currently, but one good over and Old Boys will have turned that round.
I agree. I think the use of the spinners now coming back in, and obviously he's found a good length and hasn't been easily dispatched. Just outside that off stump. And he's bowling on their fourth wicket there, and quite full too, which is also nice because he's not allowing the batsman to try and
Get underneath it.
or try and use his feet, because if he misses, he's gone.
Well, he's either bowled or he's stumped, isn't he?
That's it.
If he walks down the pitch a little bit. So take a run to long on. This one just a bit straighter. Yeah, now that now after Arnie's pointed out that he doesn't turn, I can certainly see he doesn't. But just his variations is just fine enough to confuse batsmen a little.
A little quicker one, slower one, fuller one there.
And the one back of the length almost.
That's it.
Like that one. Great over there from Arnie Ujaraja. 4 off it. Certainly Old Boys needing more than 4 and over from here. 51 needed off 36 balls.
Yeah, they will start feeling a little bit of scoreboard pressure now after that over. But like you said, couple lusty blows and the game's turned around again.
It's only 14 overs gone, boys.
Not sure who the bowler is here.
It's only 14 gone, not 15. Yeah, not 15. Yeah.
I think that's still Elliot. I think Elliot's going to give him South the bowl, you know, all 4 overs.
Yeah, this must be his last.
It will be. With 19, is it?
What's this? Yeah. What did you say was 19?
As figures?
No, 17.
17 off his 3 overs, 3.1 overs. With
Elliot
Brock
comes-
Hatwell went on strike just to bounce out to the mid-wicket boundary for a single.
a little full toss there. Didn't get the full treatment, but what is that? Was it a single there that he got?
Yep, just on the bounce.
The new guy, the crease.
Oh, he's back to the bowler, and he's just basically almost jumped over his hand.
Try to bludgeon that.
Yeah. Three balls, is it?
Oh, that's a great shot, and it will run for 4.
It'll be 4, yeah. Well, I was quite interested that the call was too early on, and we'd seen that the over before.
That didn't really tell the people what had happened there. Yeah.
It was definitely 4. Just split the gap. So 88 for 3.
It was nicely pulled through the covers, all along the ground. That's what you want, eh?
88 for 4. 2 balls to come in the 15th.
Straight back past the bowler to the fielder. He missed fields, and it will roll away for 4.
Oh, that is costly. So 92, 41 required. 1 ball left. It's actually now a run a ball. See, Brian? Yeah. 2 boundaries and that over, and now we're down to run a ball.
And that's one mistake in the field, huh? As Elliot comes back down to bowl, too short again, and is pulled through into what would be the covers.
I need this ground. Actually, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. It's now 40 required from 30. We're not run a ball. But anyway, I will step aside. Ryan Gilbranson will come back in and join in alongside Brian for the match. We'll be back for the final, myself, and also chiming in just every now and then as well. But I will leave it to you guys.
Thank you, Bevan.
Did you say Bevan or Durban?
Bevan. This is a handy craft.
Now who's this roller?
Yeah, not that great with them. Sam knew what I was talking about.
The captain's over. He didn't really find his length.
So who's this rolling now?
Well, they're currently needing 2 runs a ball now from now on, eh?
Yep, and while I was gone, they've lost a wicket as well. So Bevan earlier was talking about a wasp and you know the possible percentage of win.
Who's this for?
Would you put it in old boys' favour, being the stronger side? I think in a T20 game.
I must secretly, I am a old boys fan. Played a little bit of the old boys rugby this season for them. So I am secretly shouting for old boys.
So just put a little bit more fire on that one, but they managed to push through for a single.
Sanji.
It was a nice leg glance.
Sanji.
So 39 now of 29
Oh,
is
so Dum Hunkarunga into the single. Well, they
the
get one.
target. Just a nice single there. And this is all they probably have to do in the over is get a couple of those singles and then hope that they can get one away to that boundary. Because in a T20 game, it's certainly I think a lot of the time it's actually pressure on the field. It's not always easy, especially at this level, to get the ball in the right area. And so if the batsmen can free their arms a bit, that will make it 38 off 28.
Oh, you did right. It just oh.
I was giving you a thumbs up to say yes.
Well, the bowler just bowled him a nice little bouncy one. It's not often you see a spin bowler bounce a batsman.
No, but I think that softness on the wicket coming through, Brian, is that one's in the air. It's not going to carry to the fielder though, and they managed to sneak through again. So just knocking those runs off, one run at a time.
In saying that, they also need to try and go for it. Like, I noticed the bowler's got a quick action, but he's not really that quick. So a nice straight drive over his head. There's a lot of space there.
33 required. This short little single will make it 32. Is he
No, he dropped
quick
the
enough?
ball.
He dropped it.
No. Just for those that are listening at home, I've actually confused Ryan there. It's 36 off 26.
It doesn't take much for me, Ben.
Well, you rubbed off on me, Ryan, because I was struggling in the in my last spell on commentary with my maths skills, so I was going to blame it on you.
I would.
I don't perform maths without a calculator.
It's 36
I'll
off.
hit down to square leg.
Josh.
Yeah, nicely struck, but
35
won't
off
quite get the
25.
desired runs from it. Just the single.
Oh, sorry, 34. 24.
He's going to come on now.
I would like to see the batsman try to hit the bowlers a little bit straighter.
I'll just try and get the new bowler.
And just, like I said, behind the batsman, behind the bowler, there's
By
a
the way, hit
lot
these
of
bowlers.
space there.
Keep changing.
If they're going to look to go for it,
99.
then they should hit
34
over his
from
head.
24.
With the fielding unit not really having a lot of pressure on them, the batsmen are finding the fielders, so
Yeah.
so maybe good work there from the star captain. But as you say, if they just change up their mindset and try and look for run scoring areas, they might just make it a little bit easier. So the scenario is, as we get down to the wire now, 34 required of 24 balls. So game on.
Yeah, I was getting that from everywhere there, Ryan. They wanted to send it out to the batsman, what the equation was, and also the old boys players asking me as well. So I was having to say, just calm down, everyone.
I haven't played to any high degree in the cricketing sense, but you know, I imagine it would be frustrating being a batsman out there trying to concentrate on your game and having to have those equations in your head and not seeing them on a giant scoreboard, you know, of a tiered stadium. It must be difficult. You'd be standing there at times going, well, you know, is it 26 now? Is it 24? Geez, how many did we get there? It's hard enough for us here, let alone when you're out there in the middle of the field on a hot day.
I tell you what, Fraser Tech are having some fun on the Sunday because they've just taken a brilliant run out over there against Boys High.
That's the second one. Second run out in 2 balls.
Oh, that's why. Thanks, Brian, for that, because I was wondering why the overexcitement. Sorry, mate, carry on with what you were saying.
Yeah, I think as a batsman you should first concentrate on doing your job before you worry about how far behind you are. I think secretly you will always know where you are on the run chase, especially when you look at your boys on the bank here. They'll tell you. But
That's what I was trying to tell you.
but I do believe that they should be trying to hit way more straighter than where they are trying to hit right now.
Yes, well, that last ball, a dot, they become gold in this format of the game at this sort of time as they comes charging down the pitch. Yes, umpire nods his head. He says, "I'm sorry, son, you're on your way." And now they're 5 down, 34 off 22.
Five guts in hand. That's what I'm trying to tell you there, Ryan.
You can tell it's been a
Yes,
while
it is.
between Bev and I. We haven't got our hand signals down today, but you're right. 34, 23, 5 down.
It would appear that they're trying to hit across the line instead of just and that's why the runs have been drying up.
That's gone out. I wasn't sure if I had said that to you.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
This is going to be quite interesting. Could actually, I haven't got our the guy I'm looking for at the moment. He'll be off doing something else.
It's gone.
They game dipped.
I know. I just came to see if anyone. bad is it?
Marist President has joined with us. Bravo, El Presidente.
The Marist score over there is 128 for 6 with 3 overs to go. We're crying another 44, so I think even though Old Boys might not be able to win this game, might sneak into the final anyway.
Run rate. 44 3.
So what would happen in that regard where both the teams vying for a spot in the finals here lose?
Matt, listen, I understand that it comes down to run rate first, does it? Or Sean?
I believe it is
Okay.
run rate.
Yeah. And I think because of the margin over there, probably will drop Marist underneath it. We'll stay tuned just to make sure first though about that. As I know Marist's net run rate was a lot better coming in.
But they need a win today to have any chance. They needed a win.
Carry on, bro.
That was part of
And so bowler comes running down, and you look for a bouncer.
Oh,
Good
just
effort.
dropped.
Just
Is that, were you saying that's dropped in front of him, or is he
No,
dropped?
dropped it.
No,
He's
he's
put
going
it
to say
down.
looked like he dropped it.
It's drop catch.
Yeah, but unfortunate.
On the whole, Brian, I think the Star bowlers have done a good job of cramping up the Old Boys batsmen. They've been 4 shots, the ones that they've got out to, and as you say, they just haven't really been able to find those gaps in the field. They haven't been able to stroke it through, and now they're under a little bit of pressure.
yeah, they're trying to force it. Oh, that was a bad beam, and they will get some runs there. Batsman won't be happy with the bowler after that one, but he'll pick up 3 bars and an extra ball.
Yes, and this could be a crucial free hit as well, Brian. If they can get some runs off this, they might just close that gap up a little bit and give themselves a bit more of a sniff.
Yeah.
Star. It'll be between them and Star. Because we're only on 8.
So here it is. This is a free hit. Remember, you can only get out if you run out.
Boys,
And
he tries his best, but
hit it straight to the
But if
field
Star
of the
went
game.
out, that puts him on 3 wins too.
well, it was a tough catch that he put down, to be fair. You know, it wasn't much above the blades of the grass, and
Situation in here?
he will be disappointed with it, but still.
We've got the best run rate.
Oh, no, I mean, what do they need?
Definitely of black cap material. That effort.
Yeah, everything's live scored, isn't it? So,
bowler coming down.
So somebody's.
And finally,
And that one gets
finds a
through.
gap.
So will they push for 2? No, they're just going to go for the single. They really need to get a wriggle on here. Now, Brian, if they have any chance of really winning it, never say never. T20's a funny game. We're talking about Marist having to get 40, and can they do it off 3 overs? But now for Old Boys, it's looking that little bit tougher.
Definitely. The twos have dried up now,
17.
and also the boundaries.
So Clayton's 29 off 18 now.
So if Star one here goes into the 2 run rates.
29 off 18. It's still doable. Look, on the Mist, is that right? Did I say it right?
Moobs?
The Mist, look, that other guy hit 36 runs in 1 over.
133.
It is possible, but will it happen?
The only way you'll know, boys, is either being here or watching it on through Bev's broadcasting. Now, this is obviously a huge park, but there's a lot of cars out, there's a lot of people out. Of course, 3 games on. The Old Boys Fraser Tech game is, the Boys High Fraser Tech game has finished, and Marist is still batting at the moment, trying to dig in and try and get a result for them. But the conversation that we're having at the moment, or at least behind us, is of run rate and how that will influence who goes through to the final if Marist can upset them.
So just an update, because the Premier Final isn't the only one out here today at 2:30. On field 3 we will have the A's final as well. If you're in Hamilton and around, come down to Galloway Park.
It's up in the air, it's gonna drop short though. So just the single, so not the wicket, but still pressure on. Sorry, Bev.
No, Ryan, you did the right thing there, mate. The O's final is going to be between Melville A side and some good news for you, Ryan, the Marist Suburbs A's side as well for the A's T20 final.
Well, I know where I'll be spending my break then. That'll be on the hill, no doubt next to Bunny, having a couple of cold ones in between.
Oh,
that is gone! See you later. It's what they needed.
Yeah, it's what they needed. He hit it straight. That's the second six of the innings.
And at a much needed time as well, Brian. So that makes the equation now, Bev.
22 from 16 there, Ryan. I was just checking that one. It's a problem when you're trying to do about 5 different jobs.
Who says
But
men
that's
can't
all right.
multitask, eh? No, you're doing a great job,
More of
Bev.
those lusty blows.
Lucky with the
and they're in
broadcasting
business.
today.
Oh! They've just come over this, just jumped over the stumps, that one, Ryan.
That, I tell you, if there was another coat of varnish on that bail, he would have been out.
Good old another coat, eh?
It's in the air. Yeah, it's going to be safe, and Star are going to get it back. And they've done a great job of restricting old boys to just those singles. Yes, we had that 6, but as you mentioned, Brian, only the second one of their innings.
Yeah. They've done a good job, these bailers.
And again, they cramp them up, Star. They restrict them to just the single. 20 off 13.
After 20?
We'll take that, yeah.
So, just a result over on field 3. That's an amazing one. Fraser Tech 102 for 7 after 20, and Prakash, how many wickets down did they end up with?
5 down, I think.
And Boys High 102 for 5, so it was a tie.
They got 5 penalty runs for running.
Pushing for 2 now, old boys. They
So we ended up.
they get through 4-2.
Yeah. So
18
if it wasn't for that,
off 12 is now the equation. We're down to the last 2 overs, and I would say
115.
if they can find something out of that bag of tricks, if they can get it over that boundary rope, whether straight over or running over, they could give themselves a chance.
So going back, sorry guys, because I've just heard some brilliant stuff about that game. Boys High were penalised 5 runs for running on the pitch, which made Fraser Tech's score in the end 107. So it was all tied up at 107 each in a T20 game. How many times do you hear that?
Rookie
That's
mistakes.
amazing.
Rookie mistakes by the young lads.
Yeah, well, I think we saw a couple of
the
rookie
students will be disappointed.
I think we saw a couple of rookie mistakes in the Sydney Test, didn't we?
Yes, amongst other things, Bev, I think.
No, I'm not. I'm meaning by a D Warner and M Libiscane.
It's Labaskachni.
Yeah, I knew I said that
there
wrong.
we go.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you for correcting
He
me.
did it the first time and then won the second time.
Yep. And I think Labaskachni was might have been unfairly done, but I think Warner definitely did in those 2 cases.
Well, I would also like to going back to the England Protea game. I would also like to question the umpire's call to give Dean Elgar out with that edge. I mean,
So Ryan, I think there's a massive gap out here somewhere, isn't there?
Yeah, there really is, mate. Out over cover. They haven't been hitting it over there, though, is the one thing. The star bowlers have been cramping them up, haven't been allowing them to get it over there. They've scored a lot of runs through mid-wicket. Of course, that last 6 that we saw, that was in the cover area. What have we got here? He's driven at it. The throw is not on target. And the target is now 17 off 11.
And there's a bit of teach around the ground today, actually. Fraser Tech have got themselves a bit interested in this one as well.
are they still in?
No, Fraser Tech were definitely out at the start of today's play. But I think they're also riding on their high that managed to get a tie.
not their first win
Last
or
one,
tie of the
doubles,
season,
didn't
is it?
What's this?
Last one for a tie in the T20.
No, I've actually
Oh, that's
I've
a
got
great
two
ball.
tie
He ran
credit
it,
in
ball,
down
hit that
Calvary
spot.
tournament. They have plenty.
No, I mean,
they have
Just
plenty
try and
Hamilton.
get the batsman's toe.
155 each. Not last season.
Yep,
season
big
before.
swing and a miss leaves them 17 now off 10
And then you don't have
deliveries.
ball-outs in those games either.
He's bowled well today.
He has bowled very well.
They've scrapped ball-outs.
Well, Ben Morris Brown, he is one of the top bowlers in Hamilton cricket. He's top wicket taker again this season. T20s only. Wasn't across all three formats last season, and definitely one of the stalwarts now in the Hamilton side, and deserves to be there. Of course, big match for Hamilton coming up. First weekend of February, 31st to the second 3-day Hawke Cup match here on Galloway 1 against Bay of Plenty. The first Hawke Cup defence of the season. Hamilton managed to take it off Hawke's Bay at the end of last. So it's going to be an interesting one.
Oh, he's got to put it down. It was hit with some